Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. The article comes to you guys from investing.com. I'll leave a link to it in the description so you guys can check it out. So AT&T is a big topic of discussion with plenty of people, right? Some have reached out to me. And with the wireless and fiber combo, they're always going to be financially sound, financially strong, and still financially disciplined. But as you can see here, AT&T declares another quarterly dividend per share, right? It's a certain amount per share, and that's how it evolves every quarter. Now, most of you that have reached out to me, you're concerned about AT&T Wireless. Not much concerned about the business, not much concerned about the overall business. It's very healthy, right? They have, I don't know, what is it, a $70, almost $80 ARPU on fiber, right? So the cash flows, the overall health of the balance sheet, very, very, very strong, right? And now you got the Lumen deal that's set to close in the first half of next year. That's an additional asset to the fiber base that will help grow wireless. But a lot of you are still worried about the wireless network, even though they announced this quarterly dividend, this next deal, right? The M&A space is getting really hot for AT&T Fiber, right? But a lot of you are still really, really worried about the AT&T wireless network. Rightfully so, right? A lot of you email me, message me, and a lot of you have a lot of knowledge about the network, have been tracking the network. And you tell me, hey, we're here in Florida, right? I've been keeping track of the networks since 2012, 15, whatever. And AT&T really has not materially densified, right? Their site spacing is minimally better than it was during, the early parts of LTE. So that's a concern for many of you. Like, when does AT&T really, really densify the network? That's what some of you are asking. And I've said, and I've made videos stating that I feel like the densification is really only going to happen in markets where they grow wireless using fiber and the convergence. They're going to happily invest more into those local markets. But at mass scale, I just don't see where they densify to that extent. I've even been told in areas where they are a bit more focused, where AT&T tries to densify and have densified for quite a while, it still doesn't stack up to what T-Mobile and Verizon have deployed on densification. So that tells me AT&T has fallen behind, years and years worth of deployment that it would take to catch up to anything that Verizon and T-Mobile have built on densification. That's crazy, right? So some of you have asked, how focused really is AT&T on wireless? That's what some of you have asked. Plenty of you have asked me that in the comments. And to be honest, I really don't have like a detailed answer. All I say is fiber is a huge focus, and a lot of the CapEx is going to fiber because it's so expensive to get to those large numbers that they want to get to on fiber. It's not cheap. So they're taking the gas off of the wireless business because they want to fuel fiber. But some of you have the right to be concerned about wireless. Now, I know some of you are saying, well, Philadelphia, AT&T is very dense, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, right? Even Oklahoma City. But then I still hear, even though in those markets where they're really dense, they still don't really match anywhere close to what Verizon and T-Mobile have deployed. I got a message this morning in Dallas, Verizon is killing it. They're deploying millimeter wave at the terminals and the airports. They're densifying, and AT&T's left behind. So there's great concern on that, right? So AT&T will still be able to declare quarterly dividends quarter after quarter because their balance sheet is healthy. Because of fiber, now FWA is contributing to the revenue, and wireless is kind of just there, right? There's not much excitement around wireless, at least amongst the wireless tech enthusiasts. Not a lot of excitement, right? They do build a couple of sites here and there. They do mid-band upgrades. We understand that, but they have not yet extensively densified where you can say, okay, the site spacing is now tremendously better, or it's now way better than it once was, right? So that's just something that I wanted to talk about in this video. I want to hear from you guys in the comments. They do need to get a little more serious about wireless. And the reason I say that is because we saw this happen in history, right? When they let the foot off the gas on wireless, when they wanted to buy media, right, what happened? They fell further behind on wireless, and then they had to kind of pick it up and start investing more in wireless, right? For those of you who remember that. Now, they're heavily focused on fiber, which sort of has priority levels of what media had back then. And now they're letting the foot off the gas again on wireless. So next year, the year after, is churn going to go up? And they're going to be all of a sudden be like, okay, we have to really invest now in our wireless business, right? We don't want that type of AT&T, and we don't want history to repeat itself, but it's kind of happening. The way that it's going right now, from what I've seen for the build plans being canceled and everything else, I mean, there's more details on the membership. For those of you who'd like to join the membership, a link to that will be in the comments. But man, AT&T is just fallen further behind on wireless, and a lot of you are starting to get concerned. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. See y'all in the next one. Peace.